Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ivan Hartanto from Binus University, majoring in Industrial Engineering. For today, I will be presenting my research paper titled Sustainable Measurement of Mental and Physical Workloads of Transjakarta Bus Drivers. Okay, let's start the presentation. Starting from the introduction. PT Transportasi Jakarta, also known as PT Transjakarta, operates in a public transportation. Transjakarta buses are a popular choices due to their low cost, dedicated lanes for access to various routes in Jakarta, and comprehensive amenities making city commuting quick and comfortable. Unfortunately, accidents are a reality in all forms of transportation, including Transjakarta buses. The increase in Transjakarta bus accident has been concerning, with 54 accidents in 2018 and 508 in 2021 and 827 in 2022. This accident can be linked to various factors, including suboptimal workload condition. Okay, next we have research question and objective. First of all, how to classify the level of physical workload experienced by Transjakarta bus drivers using the cardiovascular load analysis method. After that, we had how to classify the level of mental workload experienced by Transjakarta bus driver using the NASA task load index or analysis method. And last, we had, is there a correlation between mental and physical workload among Transjakarta bus driver? Okay, this is our research flowchart. We started from literature study, studying the workload method. After that, we searched for problem statement and had the benefit and objective for this research. After that, we do the data collection, searching for heart rate data of 30 Transjakarta bus driver, and we do collection data from the NASA Telex questionnaire. After that, we do the processing from the data that has been gathered. For the mental workload, we use NASA Telex, and for the physical workload, we use cardiovascular load. After that, after we processing the data, we analyze the data. For the mental workload, we use the work-weighted load, and for physical workload, we use the percentage CVL. And after all of that, we do the correlation testing. Uh, After that, we gather the information and get the conclusion and recommendation, and we ended the research. Okay, so for the method, for the first, we had NASA TLX, the process of collection data using the NASA Tassel Index method involving 30 respondents was used a questionnaire, which is divided into two stages, paired comparison and even scoring. Next, we had cardiovascular load. The process of collecting data using the cardiovascular load method begins with calculating the pulse of the Transjakarta bus drivers before work and after work. The pulse is obtained by using a device called an oximeter. Last, for the correlation test, this process had several stages. In the first stage, we identified the data variables required for the test. We used data from NASA Telex mental load and cardiovascular load for physical load, and we analyzed method as our data resources. Okay, so let's begin into the data collecting using NASA Telex questionnaire. Using this paired comparison paper that have 15 questions in it, and we use this event scoring paper that have 6 questions in it. Okay, for the data collecting, for the table 1 and table 2, that has all the collection of data from paired comparison and even scoring that has been gathered from the 30 respondents of Transjakarta bus drivers. Okay, let's go to the NASA TLX process. Okay, for processing the data, we should search for product value of each indicator. Because we have 6 indicators, we should find it with this formula, which is rating times factor weight. Rating times factor weight. Yeah, after that, we should highlight the total of every respondent product value for searching the work-weighted load score. Yeah, this is the total value of every indicator, MD, PD, PD, CE, FR, and EF. Okay, for the NASA TLX result, Okay, for processing the data, we should search for the work-weighted load. So this is the work-weighted results that has been applied by the formula total product value divided by 15 as the total paired comparison score. So after all of that, we had the average of the work-weighted load that point out the 70.8% that classify as somewhat as high because the score is somewhere between the 50% until 79%. That's why it classified as high. Okay, for the percentage CVL, once heart rate and age data for the respondent are collected using the oximeter tools, this is the resting heart rate per minute data and working heart rate per minute data. After that, for calculating the maximum heart rate, we use the formula. The formula is heart rate max equals that to 220 minus age for man. After that, we found this section. And for the percentage cardiovascular load score, we use the formula like this. Yeah, 100 times working heart rate minus resting heart rate divided by maximum heart rate minus minimum heart rate. And after all of that, for the average percentage cardiovascular load is 12.4%. So for the percentage cardiovascular classification is no fatigue occurs. Okay, so for the next thing is normality and correlation test. So a normality test is conducted to ascertain whether the collected data follows a normal distribution. The result of the test using software like Meditech indicates the work-weighted load and percentage CVL have p-values of 0.05 and 0.560. Yeah, suggesting that the process data exhibit a normal distribution. Okay, for the data correlation analysis. So for the correlation analysis based on Pearson correlative values reveals a correlation coefficient of minus uh, 0.197 and a p-value of 0.296. These findings indicate a weak and insignificant relationship between percentage CVL and work-weighted load. As percentage CVL increases, work-weighted load decreases, though the correlation is not statistically significant. So for the research conclusion, in the context of classifying the level of mental workload among Transjakarta bus driver, it is observed that the classification indicates a high level of mental workload with a percentage of 70.8%. This categorization reflects the elevated level of mental workload. After that, the classification of physical workload among Transjakarta bus driver is determined to be 12.4%, indicating an average percentage classification that suggests no physical fatigue is experienced by the drivers. And last, furthermore, the analysis of the relationship between mental workload and physical workload conducted through the NASA TELX and cardiovascular load methods reveals a correlation coefficient of minus 0.197, and the p-value associated with this correlation is 0.296, suggesting an inverse relationship between percentage CVL and work-weighted load. Specifically, as percentage cardiovascular load increases, work-weighted load decreases. However, it is important to note that this correlation is characterized by a very weak and statistically insignificant association between the variables. Okay, so for this paper suggestion, the classification of metal workload using the NASA TELX approach reveals a high workload category. Therefore, a review of the work shift schedule provided to each driver is necessary, given the complaints submitted by drivers regarding constraint on their work schedules. Although the ideal working schedule is accordance with the government regulation is 8 hours, but on-site observation reveal new issues. One of them is the imperfection of the schedule, as drivers must spend more than 30 minutes reviewing the bus due to congested queues when the bus fleet reviews after completing their shift. I think that's all about my paper present. Thank you for listening.